Mr. Sturgill, your witness.
Thank you, Judge. Agent Hull, we're going to return to what has been marked State's Exhibit 12.1. There was reference to it yesterday. And I'd like to ask you again, have you reviewed that exhibit?
Yes.
And if you wouldn't mind, just briefly remind us what that exhibit consists of.
The exhibit is a compilation or a running of a summary of videos from UVU campus security footage that was obtained.
Okay?
Your Honor, excuse me, we can't hear the witness.
That's what I hear. So let's go ahead and
Yeah.
stop. I'm not hearing it, so I'm going to have you repeat. Let's test it. Go ahead.
Check.
All right, I believe that.
Thank you.
Mr. Sturgill, if you wouldn't mind restarting.
I
so
can
the-
do that, Judge.
Thank you.
Maybe bring the mic from the base a little bit closer to you. I don't know if that'll help. All right, let's go ahead and go back to what's been marked as State's Exhibit 12.1. I'd asked you a moment ago if you'd reviewed that exhibit.
Yes, I have.
Okay. And would you just remind us what that exhibit consists of?
It's a compilation of videos that were part of the overall footage that was obtained from the Utah Valley University as part of the investigation.
And does that compilation video, from your point of view, capture Mr. Robinson arriving to and visiting the UVU campus
It does, yes.
on September 10th through the 11th, 2025?
Correct.
Okay. And again, I asked you this question yesterday, but did you prepare that video compilation?
I did not.
Okay. Do you know who did?
The Utah County Attorney's Office.
Does that video, and I'm referring to 12.1 exhibit, State's Exhibit 12.1, does it include all of the footage collected by the SBI from UVU?
It does not, no.
Does that video, again, 12.1, include all of the footage you collected from UVU that captures who you believe is Mr. Robinson walking around campus?
Not all of the footage, no.
You reviewed this compilation with Mr. Olson, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And in its entirety.
Yes.
And he actually, and then you collected an 1102 statement from him.
I did, yes.
And I believe that has actually been admitted into evidence as State's Exhibit 12.3. Did Mr. Olson refer to that exhibit, 12.1, in his statement?
He did, yes.
Okay. 12.3. I'm going to put on your monitor State's Exhibit 12.3, and I'd ask that you scroll down towards the very bottom. And I would ask that you read from the statement specifically what Mr. Olson said about State's Exhibit 12.1. And I want to narrow your focus, so I'm going to draw your attention about 3/4 down the page. There's a sentence that begins on the left margin, "I have reviewed." Do you see that?
I do, yes.
Okay, would you please read that sentence?
I have reviewed State's Exhibit 12.1, and the recordings are true and accurate, including timestamps, dates, and camera labels. The only changes are some zooms and red highlights, which were not part of the original recording.
Okay.
Would you
Have
like me
you, I'm sorry?
Sorry, I didn't know if you wanted me to continue. Or...
No, that's good enough. Have you had a chance, well, you reviewed the raw footage yourself, is that correct?
Correct.
And does that comport with your viewpoint of that exhibit?
It does, yes.
Have you had a chance to review what's been marked as State's Exhibit 12.4?
Yes.
Okay, and when did you review that exhibit?
This morning,
And who did you review that exhibit with?
with Kimberly Durfler.
Okay, was there any conversation about that exhibit?
No, I was just shown the video.
Okay. Nobody asked you questions or suggested anything to you?
They did not know.
Did you prepare that exhibit?
I did not.
Do you know who did?
The Utah County Attorney's Office.
All right. And I'm referring specifically to what's been marked State's Exhibit 12.4. What is depicted in that video?
That video is, again, a compilation of videos from the overall footage that was obtained from Utah Valley University for September 11th and September 12th.
And how does it compare to what's been marked as State's Exhibit 12.1?
It appears to be the same footage. However, on this particular version, there were no circles or blurs that had been made to the video.
How about zooming in and zooming out?
No, there was no zooming or zooming out.
Does it appear to be identical to the raw footage that you've seen that portrays this particular part of the UVU surveillance video?
It does, yes.
Judge, the state would move to admit what's been marked State's Exhibit 12.4.
And
Your Honor, we just object to the publication of this for all the reasons we argued yesterday. We think this video is going to play a big role in the trial, and to allow the public to see it now would seriously impact our ability to get a fair trial, and we're asking the court not to publish it.
thank you. And Mr. Sturgill, and to all counsel, as it will apply to all counsel, when you are moving a piece of evidence, it's the three parts, whether admissibility into the record,
Right.
to be published in the courtroom, to be published in the courtroom and captured by the media. So, Mr. Sturgill, as it's your request, what are you requesting?
Judge, first of all, clearly I'd move to admit the exhibit. I'd ask, and Judge, the presumption is that this is a public record and should be published. And so the state's position is that it should be published here in the courtroom, and it should be published in such a way that the media can capture it on video.
All right.
Your Honor, can I be heard on that very briefly?
You may, if you would approach the lectern, please, and state your name.
I'm David Ryman. I represent the news media. I didn't make an appearance because the news media technically aren't parties, but as you know, they do have the right to be heard on issues like this, and I've tried to keep that to a minimum. But since this is the first one coming up today, I thought it might be helpful to just address it again. There is a presumption not just that it be published in the courtroom, as we talked about yesterday, because the participants or the spectators in the courtroom have a right to know what the court is viewing so that they can understand how you're making your decision. This seems like a very important piece of evidence. It doesn't seem like there is a basis to keep the people who are in the courtroom today from understanding why it's being introduced. It is not like the videos yesterday, and my understanding at least is, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but we didn't object to the videos that weren't published yesterday that were graphic. We didn't object to the non-publication of the autopsy report. The argument here that Ms. Nestor just made is this seems really relevant, and that is precisely why it needs to be public. With the last thing I'll address is just EMC. There is a presumption, it's a rule presumption, not a constitutional one, that EMC is allowed. And I think that for all of the reasons that we've briefed this for Your Honor several different ways, there needs to be a really good reason why. You know, if it's being published in a public proceeding in the courtroom, it should not also be, it should not also be allowed to be published to the media. So,
Thank you.
thank you.
Mr. Sturgill, did you wish to respond or perhaps give a little bit more detail on what this video purports to show?
Well, do you want me to proffer that, Judge, or have the witness?
I'll defer to you.
Okay. Well, first of all, if I could take one step back. Let me ask you, I may have misheard, but let's just be clear about this video, the compilation video. It includes video surveillance from UVU campus from what dates?
September 10th, 2025 into the morning of the 11th, 2025.
And if you wouldn't mind just describe in a bit more detail what this compilation includes.
The compilation shows the movements of the individual believed to be Mr. Robinson on Utah Valley University campus, arriving and leaving in a vehicle, arriving and leaving on foot, and then returning and leaving, and then attempting to gain access again in a vehicle. And his movements throughout the day are included in the videos also.
Is there any footage of the alleged shooting?
There is not, Judge.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify that. Ms. Nestor, given that additional information, and anything further from defense?
Mr. Burt's he's the one who's been litigating all of the First Amendment issues, if he could address Mr. Ryman's argument.
Yes. Mr. Burt, if you wouldn't mind coming forward.
Judge, I wanted to clarify one argument that was made by counsel for the media yesterday, and that was the rules, the Rule 4-202.02 does not apply to the situation we're in right now, and that is wrong. The rule says that this rule applies to the judicial branch, and 4-202.02J says the judge may regulate or deny access to exhibits to ensure a fair trial. So I think that rule does apply to our situation, and the Supreme Court in the Algier, ALLGIER case, 258 Pacific 3rd, 589, applied the rule in the context of an evidentiary exhibit. And I know the court has not mentioned, since counsel made that argument, this particular rule, but I think it does apply here. And also applicable is the Supreme Court's decision in the Kearns case, which we talked about when we argued the motion for denying access to the cameras. And that case, Kearns versus Tribune Corporation, 685 Pacific 2nd, 515, says that the standard the court ought to apply in determining whether an exhibit at a preliminary hearing should be sealed is one of a, quote, realistic likelihood of prejudice. And we rely on the evidentiary showing we've made in connection with our motion to exclude cameras, that there is a realistic likelihood of prejudice in this way. The court knows and has access to the media coverage up to the time when we litigated the motion concerning closing this hearing to the cameras. And the court knows that one feature of the media coverage has been a very pro-prosecution bias of every story that has been published on this account. The court also knows from that coverage that information is being widely disseminated, and you have found in connection with the shackling issue that the publicity in this case is likely to reach jurors who will be part of our jury pool. And we've also submitted to the court a public opinion survey which shows that the prejudicial publicity that the media has already generated in this case has affected the jury pool. And so those are all factors the court can point to and rely on and conclude that publication of this particular exhibit should not be allowed because there is a realistic likelihood of prejudice to Mr. Robinson's right to a fair trial. So under that standard and under the rule, the court ought to deny publication.
Thank you, Mr. Burt.
Thank you.
Any final argument from the parties before the court issues its ruling?
Your Honor, can I be heard on that briefly?
Yes, you may.
Thank you, Your Honor. David Ryman. I just wanted to clarify. I don't know that Mr. Burt and I necessarily disagree about what he said about the rule. What we were talking about yesterday was something different. That is the portion of the rule that classifies records that are in the court file. You know, it's not the same as what happens in a public hearing. And Mr. Burt referenced the portion of the rule that essentially just tracks the constitutional standard, which of course, you know, controls here as to whether in this public proceeding it can be closed in any way, and non-publication of exhibits as a form of closure. So I don't necessarily disagree. I would just underscore a lot of what Mr. Burt just said has been briefed ad nauseum at this point. Their position that publicity is incompatible with a fair trial. The Algier case he mentioned, you know, I know that case. I litigated that case. It involved a confession that the court found public because you have so many other tools to seat a fair and impartial jury. And we have cited that case repeatedly, and so has Your Honor, I think, recognized it in your ruling, saying pretrial publicity can coexist with the defendant's right to a fair trial. So the last thing I'll say is just that the constitutional standard that I think we're all agreeing applies here is weighty and difficult to overcome. And it is never satisfied, as we've explained, by just generalized assertions that there's a lot of publicity out there. It's got to be something really specific, and they just haven't made that showing. And I certainly don't think that a video that apparently just shows the defendant walking around the UVU campus qualifies.
Thank you. Anything further?
Judge, from the state, no, but I think I'd like to be crystal clear. You asked if there's any portion of this video that captures, and I believe you asked of the actual shooting. There's no video of that. There is video, however, and you've heard testimony related to this, where the shooter goes to the top of the low-C building, goes out to the edge of the building, low crawls, and then leaves after what we assume is the shot being fired. That's as close as it gets. I don't know if that makes a difference, Judge. I just wanted to make the record clear, and I want to be crystal clear with Your Honor.
Thank you, I appreciate that clarification, as it is guiding for this court and making its ruling. I turn to Utah, well, let me pull this up. So Rule 4-202.02. I go down to, well, first it says statement of the rule. 1, presumption of public court records. Court records are public unless otherwise classified by this rule. 2, public court records include but are not limited to. And I'm going to go down to 2J, exhibits, but the judge may regulate or deny access to ensure the integrity of the exhibit, a fair trial, or interests favoring closure. And the court recognizes the importance of the constitutional rights of Mr. Robinson being upheld and protected. At the same time, the court also recognizes the importance of transparency and a proper balance to ensure that the constitutional rights of all parties are upheld. As it relates to this exhibit, I believe it's 12.4.
12.4, yes.
Based off the representation of what is in that, the court differentiates this exhibit from the exhibits from yesterday, namely Exhibit 7, Exhibit 8, and Exhibit 9, as those are different in nature, and those go to issues relating to Utah Constitution, Article 1, Section 28, as it relates to the Declaration of the Rights of Crime Victims. And the court also recognizes Utah Rule of Evidence 1102, as that is the foundation that's being laid for the admission of this exhibit. Having taken in consideration all factors, the court rules that Exhibit 12.4 is admitted into evidence and shall be played in the courtroom and may be broadcast by the media. We can proceed.
Thank you, Judge. Agent Hull, before we actually watch State's Exhibit 12.4, I have just a few questions. Yesterday, you testified at the very beginning of your investigation that you focused on the video that captured the shooter on the top of the low-C building. Is that correct?
Yes.
I believe you also testified that you began by working your way, and this is what I remember you saying, so correct me if I'm wrong, but you in essence testified that you began with that video and you started working your way backward and forward with the UVU surveillance video in an effort to trace the shooter's steps on campus. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. Would you mind explaining just in a little bit more detail what you meant by that, tracking forward and backward on that video?
Yeah, we had a known when the shooting occurred, and as the officer testified, there was a video of an individual on the roof at the time of the shooting. And so the philosophy that we applied was to take what we knew and then work that forward through the timeline and backwards through the timeline to try and establish where the individual had gone from the rooftop or how the individual had come to be on the rooftop.
And did that, for lack of a better term, did that bear fruit?
It did,
Did you
yes.
actually see from, at least in part, where he came from and where that shooter went?
Yes, more so where he came from. It was very limited after the fact.
You testified yesterday that, in reference, I believe, to what's marked State's Exhibit 21, that you believe Mr. Robinson visited campus at least 4 times on the 10th and the 11th.
Correct.
And I think you reaffirmed that today. Did you do the same, attempt that is, to track Mr. Robinson through UVU surveillance video during each of those 4 visits?
Yes.
Or those other 3 visits, I guess?
Yes, on each occasion, we attempted to follow the movements of the individual throughout campus.
And did you in fact see Mr. Robinson on campus in surveillance video that is not included in State's Exhibit 12.4?
Yes, there is additional footage of him on campus, yes.
Okay. I'm going to have displayed on your monitor. What you're going to see is a paused or a still image. And I'm going to ask if you recognize what, you see that now, Agent Hull?
I do, yes.
Okay. Do you recognize what's displayed on your monitor?
Yes, it's footage from the university that was provided to us, particularly of the parking structure.
Okay. Does it appear to be State's Exhibit 12.4?
It does, yes.
So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to have this video run. And then if you don't mind, as it's running, I'm probably going to be asking you some questions. And so this video has no audio, is that right?
No, there's no audio on the cameras.
Okay. Let's go ahead and start the video.
Your Honor, it's just not up on the screen yet. Maybe
Oh.
you're-
Let's go ahead and put it on all screens. No, I appreciate. It is, so it is admitted and may be published to the screens. And just want to make sure it's on your screen, Agent. All right. All right, Mr. Sturgill, you may proceed.
Appreciate that, Judge. Thank you. Go ahead. Okay, what are we seeing here, Agent Hull?
That's the vehicle that is believed to belong to Mr. Robinson arriving in the parking garage on campus.
At what time in the morning? What time of the day?
It's approximately 8:30 in the morning on September 10th, 2025.
And what leads you to believe that this particular vehicle belongs to Mr. Robinson?
Information that was provided regards to driver's license and Department of Motor Vehicle records. The vehicle fits the description of a vehicle owned by Mr. Robinson.
Is there anything unique about that vehicle that stands out to you?
The shape of the vehicle is very distinct, but predominantly the wheels were very distinctive on this version of the vehicle.
Now what do we see?
The driver of the vehicle exits the vehicle and then walks on foot to exit the parking garage. It's the individual in the red T-shirt and the shorts and the shoes.
And do you believe you recognize who that person is?
Yes,
Who is that?
I believe that's Tyler Robinson.
All right, and where does he go from there?
He heads out of the parking garage on foot into the campus and actually goes to the quad area of the campus. At that time, he makes contact with some representatives from TPUSA.
By quad area?
Sorry, the amphitheater is what I previously referred it to.
All right. So he goes up on campus, visits the amphitheater area, the courtyard or quad.
Correct.
And then what do we see here now?
He returns on foot back to the same vehicle.
And what time is he returning back to the vehicle?
It's about 9:25 a.m.
And where is this parking structure located on campus?
It's just off of Campus Drive. It's a short walk from the amphitheater.
What do we see now?
That's the vehicle exiting with Mr. Robinson driving the vehicle.
Now what do we see?
This is Mr. Robinson returning to the campus on foot from the neighborhood to the northeast. You can see he's wearing the same clothing as in the previous video. And he's carrying a blue backpack.
Describe the clothing.
It's a maroon colored t-shirt with gray or olive colored shorts and then Converse shoes.
And what time did he return to campus?
Just after 10 a.m.
And does he leave the parking structure eventually?
He does, yes.
Okay. And during this visit, do you know where he goes after he leaves the parking structure?
Yes, we were able to track his movements on campus. He went to Chick-fil-A in the Sorensen building and purchased some food, sat and ate the food. Then, I'm sorry,
Where did he purchase the food from?
Chick-fil-A in the Sorensen Center.
And where is that in relation to the amphitheater or the courtyard?
It's kind of on the northeast side of the amphitheater. It would be on the upper back edge of the amphitheater, furthest away from where the tent was that Mr. Kirk was in.
And from there, where does he go?
From there, he moves across campus, out across Campus Drive into a wooded area on what would be kind of the northeast side of Campus Drive. Then returns back onto campus. We noticed at this point that he's no longer carrying the backpack that he was originally wearing. He moves through the Gunther building and the computer science building. And
goes where?
then, I'm sorry?
And then goes where?
Then goes across to the railing that gives access to the roof of the Losi building.
And from there?
From there, he comes back down the stairs and walks off campus from that point.
And about what time was that he left campus that second time? Do you know?
I believe it was approximately 11 a.m. or just after, if I recall. I could verify from my notes if you need an exact time.
Yeah, if you don't mind. That'll help you remember, refer to it. Don't read it out loud. Just let me know when you've had a chance to look at that, would you? Were you able to refresh your memory as far as the time?
I was, yes.
Okay, and what time was it?
It was just prior to 11 a.m. when he walked off campus.
Okay. And before we go any further, the parking structure that he left initially, where is that parking structure in relation to the LDS Institute building?
I'm sorry, in relation to?
The LDS Institute building on campus?
I think it would be just to the north of the LDS Institute building, if I recall.
Do you recall whether it was adjacent to the LDS Institute?
Yes, it is.
Okay. All right. What do we see displayed here now? Go ahead.
This is a video of Mr. Robinson returning back to campus the same way that he did previously on foot.
And this takes just a moment. And why, well, let me ask you this. You believe this is Mr. Robinson returning to campus?
I do, yes.
Okay. And why do you believe it's Mr. Robinson?
The shoes are the same, and the images that we have are from my viewing and seeing Mr. Robinson on the video, it's the same person.
He's noticeably wearing different clothing.
He is wearing different clothing, and he also is walking with a gait or a limp in this video.
With a gait or what?
A limp.
Okay. Now what do we see?
This is Mr. Robinson coming up the stairs of the parking structure. Again, he seems to be having issues walking.
And again, were you able to track Mr. Robinson when he leaves this parking structure?
Yes, we were able to.
Okay. So when he leaves the parking structure, where does he go?
He comes up around Campus Drive. As you can see on the video here, there is a cut through there north of the Losi building, and that's Mr. Robinson coming up the sidewalk. He has the noticeable gait or limp in his walk. And then he moves south across the front of the Losi building.
On the sidewalk?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
He would be the rear of the two individuals in this particular video.
So right now, if you were to break this picture into quadrants, where would he be?
He'd be in the top left quadrant, walking to the left of the image.
Now what do we see?
This is an image looking across the parking lot to the Losi building, and Mr. Robinson is appearing on the exterior staircase, which gives access to the Losi building roof and the area where the railing was.
And again, let's break that image into quadrants. Where would he be located if you broke it into quadrants?
It's in the top right, and the individual can be seen moving under the notations that are on the video.
Okay. And what time is this?
It's just afternoon, about 12:15
On what day?
on September 10th, 2025.
Okay. What just happened, or what did we just see happen?
The individual actually kind of rolls over the railing onto the roof of the Losi building.
All right? Go ahead, sir.
And again, in the top left corner, the individual is now seen running across the rooftop of the Losi building to what would be the southwest corner of the building, crouching down and then crawling to the corner of the building.
And this is at what time?
Around 12:23. I think the timestamp on the video is 12:22.
On the 10th.
On September 10th, yes,
So we're
2025.
clear, this is the roof of the Losi building.
Correct.
Can you still see that individual?
Yes, you can, laying prone.
You believe this to be Mr. Robinson?
I'm sorry?
You believe this to be Mr. Robinson?
I do, yes.
And how long is he out there on the edge of the building?
Just until the reported shot was fired at 12:23 and 28. The individual then stands up and then moves across the building to the north.
Is that what we're seeing happening right now?
It is, yes. They move behind the atrium area on the rooftop to the northeast corner where the white triangle is.
Do you see Mr. Robinson now?
I do, yes. He's just arriving at the corner of the building, almost the top center of the image.
What are we seeing now?
And Mr. Robinson lowering and jumping off of the roof of the Losi building onto the grass area, and then moving away towards Campus Drive. And he appears to be carrying some kind of an object in his hand at this time.
So he's approaching,
Campus Drive,
and again, broken into quadrants. Where is he currently?
be in the top right quadrant.
And the time?
It's 12:24 and 42 on the timestamp.
What do we see now?
He then crosses Campus Drive and drops down into the wooded area on the far side of Campus Drive.
And that is located in what part of the video? What quadrant?
It would have been just off center on the top left side.
What do we see now?
This is the intersection of Campus Drive and 800 South. There's a vehicle attempting to turn right onto Campus Drive. That's the vehicle that's driven by Mr. Robinson.
Okay. And on the screen, where is that vehicle that you're referring to located, if you broke it into quadrants?
It's on the left side, on the upper side, the upper quadrant.
Now what do we see?
That vehicle's now pulling away and heading east on 800 South.
And why do you believe that that vehicle is Mr. Robinson's vehicle?
When that vehicle was stopped, it actually made contact with an officer who was doing security detail,
Okay, and do you know who that officer is? or
Officer
was?
Goforth,
Okay, and do you know which department he works for?
Spanish Fork Police.
And did you have a conversation with Mr. Goforth regarding this interaction at that intersection?
I did, yes.
Okay, and what time was that interaction? I'm sorry, did I ask you that?
It was approximately 12:30 a.m.
On the 11th?
on September 11th, 2025.
So you talked to Officer Goforth about that contact on the corner on that, during, I guess during the early morning hours of the 11th.
Correct.
And what did Officer Goforth tell you about that interaction?
It was an interaction that, I guess cop intuition, but there was something about the interaction that made him make a note of the license plate of the vehicle. And then subsequently, when information was available that that vehicle, or a vehicle matching the description of that, was involved in the incident, he ran the information that he had obtained from the stop and was able to identify that it was registered to Mr. Robinson, and he had in fact had contact with Mr. Robinson on the morning of September 11th, 2025.
The information that he ran, do you know what information when you say that, he ran information,
Yes, he ran a partial plate.
okay, a license plate?
Correct.
And based on that partial license plate, he was able to identify the owner of that vehicle?
Yes,
And did he tell you who the owner of that vehicle was?
he did, yes.
Okay, and who did he tell you that it belonged to?
Said there were two registered owners of the vehicle, Tyler Robinson and an Amber Robinson.
Did he say anything about the person that he actually interacted with?
Yes, it was a male that he believed to be Tyler Robinson.
Okay. Let's return again to Wispin Mark Stakes Exhibit 12.1. Again, you've reviewed that video.
Yes.
And the difference between 12.1, or what's been marked as State's Exhibit 12.1, and 12.4 are, if I understand you correctly, are these enhancements that we've been talking about.
Yes.
And specifically, be specific about the enhancements, and let's go one at a time.
Okay.
I think there's a reference to either red circles or red highlights. I think
Correct.
That's how Mr. Olson described it, red highlights.
Yes.
Do you know what he's, or what is he referencing by the red highlights, or what do you believe he's referencing?
I believe he's referring to red ovals or circles that were placed over the image to identify specific individuals of note.
And these red circles, are they permanent red circles? Are they temporary?
I'm
Different.
I would assume they are temporary. I'm not very technological, but I believe they would be overlaid over the image.
And this is a bad question. What I mean by that is do they appear and disappear quickly, or do they linger or last for a period of time?
They're there for a notable period, but I believe they come off the video. But
All right. And other than, well, and you said that the circles, what do the circles do?
they identify an area or a person of interest within the video.
And other than do that, do the circles or the highlights, do they do anything with regards to the video itself, as far as its
Not-
accuracy?
Not to my knowledge, no.
Okay. I think the next enhancement that has been mentioned, that we've talked about, is there's some blurring.
Yes.
Do you know what that, tell us what that is. What blurring do you see in what's been marked as State's Exhibit 12.1 that you now don't see in 12.4?
If I recall, there were some individuals in the parking garage footage, and their faces were blurred. Excuse me.
Is anything other than faces being blurred?
Not that I recall, no.
And how often do you see the blurring throughout the video?
I believe it's just in the original sequence in the parking garage.
Other than the blurring, does the blurring, other than obviously blur out part of the image, does it change or impact the accuracy in your mind of that part of the compilation video?
Not to my knowledge, no.
And then the last thing is, I believe, is there's some zooming in and zooming out that's in 12.1 that has been removed
Yes.
from 12.4. What can you tell us about the zooming in and the zooming out?
Predominantly, it's in the area that was referred to as viewing the Losi building rooftop. I believe it focuses on the area where Mr. Robinson comes up the stairs and onto the rooftop. Those portions of that particular footage were zoomed in for clarity.
Other than zooming in and zooming out, does at least that enhancement to the video, does it change the content of the video,
No,
the accuracy of the video in your mind?
no.
Okay. Are the enhancements in State's Exhibit, well, it's been marked as State's Exhibit 12.1, are they helpful in any way, or what do they add or take away from that video?
I think for people who are not familiar with the area and what's trying to be shown, they allow an opportunity for people to look at an individual who we believe to be Tyler Robinson, and also specific movements with more clarity than the original focal point gives.
So let's talk about the zooming in and the zooming out. It sounds like it's specific to the Losi rooftop, if I understand you correctly.
Yes,
Okay. And I think we've all watched that exhibit.
Correct.
12.4. And although you can see Mr. Robinson and his movements, is it fair to say that it's difficult to really see what's going on?
that would be fair, yes.
Okay. And the version that's in 12.1, does it facilitate at least that part of the video, seeing Mr. Robinson and tracking, I guess, his steps?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. Judge, at this point, I think in combination with yesterday, the foundation that was laid yesterday, including the written statement from Mr. Olson, which has been admitted into evidence and is, well, it's already been admitted into evidence. We believe there's enough foundation that at this point we'd also ask the court to admit what's been marked State's Exhibit 12.1. We think it would be well, beneficial for Your Honor to view it.
Ms. Nestor.
Thank you, Your Honor. We renew our authenticity objection, and we also object to for admission purposes. And then we also object to the publication for the same reasons, the fair trial issues that we raised with the unaltered version that was just submitted.
And Judge, sorry, I neglected to mention the other two. Again, Judge, we believe that the presumption is that this is a public record, that it should be not only admitted, but it should be published here in the courtroom, and it should be published in such a way that the media can have access to it.
All right. I do have a question in just directing your attention to the Utah Rule of Evidence 403, to the last phrase, the last 4 words in that. Do you wish to address that?
Judge, I'm going to have to look at 403 specifically for those last 4
Well,
words,
I
unless
can
you
read,
want to share that
I
with
can
me.
read that. Or
Okay, go ahead and
needlessly
read that.
presenting cumulative evidence. So the court may, let me just read the whole rule for completeness. The court may exclude relevant evidence if its probative value is substantially outweighed by a danger of one or more of the following: unfair prejudice, confusing the issue, misleading the jury, undue delay, wasting time, or needlessly presenting cumulative evidence. I'm not looking at anything else other than that last portion. I recognize there is no jury. I am the magistrate. I am the fact finder, but just addressing that last point of Rule 403.
Right. Judge, well, I don't believe that the evidence is cumulative. I think that each of the 2 videos, although they portray basically the same footage, There's characteristics of the one that has been enhanced that I think makes it easier for Your Honor to truly see what's going on, and for the public to see what's going on. I mean, we've displayed 12.4 on the video, and unless you have very, very, very good vision or you've zoomed in on that monitor, you really can't see what Agent Hull has just described. The character of 12.1 is it simply, it enhances that at least important parts of that exhibit, and it just makes it easier to see, not only by Your Honor, but also by the public. And specifically as it relates to the zooming in and the zooming out.
Okay. Anything further from the parties as it relates to 12.1? All right, well, I will admit 12.1 into evidence, but as it relates to playing it in the courtroom or on the television, well, for the media, I find that it is, well, as the fact finder, I will look at the evidence and weigh it as a magistrate is required to do, but I do not find it is I don't find it's necessary to replay this video, given the representation that's
Right.
the exact same video, the difference being enhancements made. If it was different in any way, or if it added to or subtracted from, that would be one factor. But because it's simply the same video, simply zooming in with circles or notations, the court does not find that the interest of justice requires it being played again. But it is received into evidence and will be reviewed by myself in determining a probable cause determination.
And I appreciate that, Judge. And just so we're clear, State's Exhibit 12.1 has been admitted.
It is received into evidence, yes.
And your intent is to review it in its entirety, but not here in the courtroom.
Yes.
Can I make one suggestion, Judge? Or maybe
Sure.
one run request? I believe the most important part of the most helpful part of this video is the zooming in and the zooming out. And that is a portion that, if you want, we could isolate that and only play that portion of the video, if you'd be willing to publish that portion of the video. And that's really the thrust of why we are trying to introduce that exhibit, because
I see.
we believe that it's helpful to see it up close. And unfortunately, because of the way it's formatted and the way it's been recorded, there's no way any of us can zoom in and zoom out on this video to get a better look at what's going on. And that's the reason why we did what we did, but we had to memorialize it and save it, and then present it in that way, rather than just present it in its raw form and then have the ability to zoom in and out, if that helps Your Honor understand why we're doing what we're doing.
All right, Ms. Nestor, to the second request of not playing the whole video in its entirety, but simply the portion with the zooming in, how long is that, Mr. Sturgill?
I think it's a couple of minutes.
All right, Ms. Nestor.
We object to the prejudice of that, Your Honor, and ask the court to stand by your previous ruling on that.
All right, thank you, I appreciate both parties. What I will do is review this video in court, and it will be displayed to the monitor's counsel table and to the court's monitor on any portion that you wish to play for me to look at, so all parties can see clearly that the court is reviewing it in court. But I do not find that it is necessary for its publication, because this is the exact same video. I recognize it's zooming, but in balancing constitutional rights, and there is nothing on this video from what's been represented that the public hasn't already seen. It's simply zooming in, and I don't find that that is necessary, or and so in balancing the constitutional rights of all parties, I'll view it on the monitor. Counsel's free to view it with me as I'm looking at it, but it will not be broadcast in the courtroom or by the video camera.
Great, I appreciate that, Judge. I respect that. I think there's a natural break where we
Sure.
can start. And what I'm going to ask is just we simply play You will have this entire exhibit in evidence, though.
Thank you.
Is that right?
Yes, I
Okay.
will. All right, whenever you're ready. Council, as it relates to your monitors, just as a caution, if you don't want it to be wished to be picked up, and I'm not saying it will, I know there are camera operators being diligent in ensuring that complying by the rules, but in abundance of caution, this is just your moment to take care of your screens if you feel the need to do so.
Sure, if I could just have one moment. Hold on, Kimberly. Not sure where the power button is on this. There we go.
All right, counsel for defense, are we prepared? And for the state?
Yes, Judge.
All right, thank you. Having heard from both counsel, I'll go ahead and review it on my screens. It is not being displayed in the monitor in the courtroom. And you may present 12.1, the portion you wish for me to view. And just for the benefit of the record, do you want to put on the record the timestamp of what you're playing, at what point you're starting and stopping? As we go, or when we finish is fine. I just want the record to be complete.
Just the difficulty in doing that is because we've zoomed in, it's removed the timestamp on it. And so-
Well, you can just give me the
count
The
on the
count
video?
on the bottom. There's a timer at the bottom of the total length of the video, so that's fine. I'm just trying to create a record of what exactly I'm looking at.
Whenever we pause on the court system,
Oh, I see. No, it's limitations of technology sometimes. Thank you for letting me know.
So the count on the video is just before 6-minute mark, Judge.
All right.
And just so the record's clear, this is State's Exhibit 12.1.
Thank you. I have it on my screen. So it looks like it's been paused at 6 minutes and 9 seconds.
Agent Hull, can you see it?
Yes.
Okay, well, let's just, I'm good with playing it. It's fine, we'll play it. Go ahead, Kimberly.
It's playing.
All right, and it's been paused, it looks like, at 6 minutes and 23 seconds.
I'm sorry. Judge, at 8:23, we stopped the video.
Oh, 8:23, okay. I
8:23.
couldn't see
That's the
small
count on
numbers.
the video itself.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Sturgill.
Agent Hull, you were able to watch that zoomed-in version, is that
Yes, sir.
right? Okay, and was there anything that stood out watching that zoomed version?
For me, on the zoomed version, it's apparent that Mr. Robinson, the individual jumping off the roof, is carrying an item.
Okay. And you can see clear the clothing that he's wearing? Strike that.
Mr. Sturgill, do you want to respond to the objection?
Judge, it is leading.
I'll go ahead and sustain the objection, and that you may move forward.
Is it easier to see? Well, strike that, Judge. I'll let the video speak for itself. Judge, I have nothing further with Agent Hull.
All right. Ms. Nestor,
Just one moment, Your Honor,
Of
if I may have
course.
the court's indulgence. Thank you. Do you want
And-
to take your?
and I was just going to suggest that. It seems like right now is a good time to take our morning break. It is 10:15. Let's come back at 10:30, and we'll resume with cross-examination of Agent Hull. Court is now in recess. For each side are present in the courtroom, and we are picking up with cross-examination of Agent Hull. Ms. Nestor, your witness.
May it please the court, thank you. Good afternoon, Agent Hall.
Good
You and
morning.
I have met before, but just to remind you, my name's Kathy Nestor. I'm one of the attorneys representing Mr. Robinson. So, when did you leave the SBI?
The State Bureau of Investigation?
Yes,
March of this year.
March of this year?
Yes.
So you were involved in this investigation from September to March, basically?
Yes.
And your new position at Post, what is your new position?
I'm an investigative sergeant.
So you investigate potential wrongdoing of police officers?
Correct.
Okay. So when you were first brought into this case in September, is it my understanding from your testimony that you were not engaged in any way with this event prior to getting a call after the shooting? Is that correct?
Correct.
Does the SBI on occasion assist other agencies with preparing for big events like this or not? Is that not typically something you do?
Not something that I've ever been involved with, no.
Okay. And what time did you arrive on campus that day?
I believe it was shortly after 1:30.
So approximately an hour after Mr. Kirk had already been removed from the...
Approximately, yes.
Okay. And were you involved in putting up any drones into the air? Were you part of that, or were you not
It's
involved in
not,
that?
no.
So how quickly after you arrived on scene did you become aware that you were actually going to be in charge of the scene?
I believe it was approximately an hour after, so what would have been approximately 2:30.
So for the first 2 hours, you were not in charge?
For the first 2 hours, I didn't arrive till 1:30, so no.
Okay. And once you came from on high that you were basically going to be in charge of the scene, what was your first priority? What were you focused on?
We were focused on, through our major crimes team and our lieutenant, putting together an investigative team and developing initial assignments and a plan as to what we were going to do moving forward.
And part of that is protecting any potential forensic evidence that may be found on the scene. That's clearly important, right?
Correct.
Preserving the scene. right?
Correct.
But it sounds like that's not really your area. That was more maybe Agent Falmina's area.
Agent Falmina was assigned to process and document the crime scenes. It was my understanding that the known scenes at that time, amid the chaos, had been contained and had been secured by the on-campus officers who were already on scene.
And what's your understanding of what the known scenes were? In other words, the area where there might potentially be evidence that you needed to process.
I know that the amphitheater area was cordoned off and managed as best it could with the number of people that were there. I was also made aware that there was a rooftop area that had been secured, and also an area off of the side of that building that had been secured by an officer.
And that building was the Losi building.
Correct.
Wasn't there also a bullet found on another building?
I believe an unfired bullet had been found on another building at some point during my time there on September 10th, yes.
Which building was that, sir?
I don't recall.
Was that considered a scene that was worth preserving?
It was not. My recollection is that that was accounted for as an ejected cartridge from an officer who had cycled his rifle.
Okay, I thought you said it was an unfired bullet, and now you're saying it was a
That's correct.
cartridge?
When a weapon is cleared, an officer would make his rifle ready, which would chamber around.
Oh, I got you.
My understanding was that that's how that was accounted for.
So an officer claimed that bullet belonged to him or her?
That's my recollection, is that was how it was accounted for.
And when was that accounted for?
I don't know specifically.
Do you remember what type of bullet that was?
I don't.
Was it a 30-06? Do you remember?
I don't.
Okay. Do you know where that bullet is now?
I don't.
Okay. So you had the amphitheater area that had to be preserved. And how far out did that stretch? The entire amphitheater or just the area around the tent or what?
My understanding was the entire amphitheater area was cordoned off, and there were attempts to secure the campus itself with a perimeter of officers who were monitoring or preventing people coming and going.
When you arrived on the scene, were you aware that an individual had been taken into custody?
I had heard that, yes.
Did you ever have any interaction with that individual?
I did not.
And were you advised at any point that that person was no longer a person of interest?
Information was passed down that the individual was not considered to be a suspect in the shooting.
And when was that, time-wise?
I don't recall specifically, but I know I was on campus when I had heard.
So whoever arrested him as a potential suspect got that wrong. He wasn't the actual suspect, right?
Sorry, got what wrong?
That he was the shooter.
The person I believed to be the shooter was not the individual who was taken into custody, correct?
And then was there anybody else taken into custody as a person of interest?
There were several people who were detained for questioning and who were interviewed throughout the investigation.
And none of those people were they were all ultimately cleared by you or somebody connected with you?
Correct.
And were there any other guns confiscated on the scene that day?
There were other firearms that were located on the scene, yes.
How many guns were confiscated that day?
I don't know specifically confiscated, but I know that there was a firearm found in a backpack that was accounted for during the day.
What type of firearm was that?
It was a handgun,
Any other guns that were found on the scene?
not that I recall.
Do you recall an individual named Noah Gonzalez being interviewed?
I don't recall that name specifically.
Let me see if it refreshes your memory that he was an off-duty, I think maybe trooper that was on the scene that day and that was involved in recovering the holster? Does that refresh your memory?
I know that a trooper was interviewed having been on scene. I don't recall if it was Gonzalez. I don't recall the name, but I do know there was a trooper that was interviewed, yes.
Okay, and just a moment, Your Honor. And do you recall the trooper that was interviewed saying that there was actually a gun found in that holster?
I do not.
You do not?
No.
Okay. Can we pull up? Exhibit Hull 13 and just show it only to the witness for right now. All right, can we go to page 2 of that report? Do you recognize this report? Have you reviewed it as part of your investigation duties?
I do recognize the report now, yes.
Okay, and this is a report prepared by actually Mr. Davis, who's going to testify later in this matter. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay, and on page 2, this is the interview of Noah Gonzalez. Is that right?
That's what it stated on page 1, yes.
And he's an off-duty trooper who happened to be there that day?
Correct.
And do you see on the second paragraph, does that refresh your memory about whether Trooper Gonzalez believed there was a gun found in a holster in that area of the amphitheater?
Trooper Gonzalez included in his report that there was a gun, yes.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. When did you first personally go up to the roof of the Losi building? Do you remember the time of that?
I don't recall. I know it was dark when I went up to the roof, so it would have been later that evening.
And at the time you went up there, there was already crime scene tape that had been placed around it?
There was an officer standing security.
Right. And to your knowledge, as the head of the investigation, did they ever find any bullets or casings anywhere on the Losi roof?
Not to my knowledge, no.
Did they ever find any bullets or casings anywhere around the Losi building?
When you say around the Losi building, you mean how close? Like immediately around the Losi building?
Correct.
Not to my knowledge, no.
Okay. And then you've been talking a lot about a timeline here that seemed, you talked about it when you were watching the video, but you also talked about the fact that you developed a timeline, is that right?
Correct.
And can you pull up Hull 1, please? I'm pulling up on your screen your report that you prepared. Do you recognize that?
I do, yes.
And what's the date that you drafted that report?
Looks like September 14th. It says date created.
And that's the place where, if you could go to page 2, please. Do you see down at the bottom where you summarize Sergeant Bricker's report listing the timeline?
Yes.
Okay, and so it was actually Sergeant Bricker that prepared the timeline, is that right?
He prepared a timeline.
And you incorporated that into your report?
No, I created a timeline.
You created your own timeline?
Yes.
Separate from the one that's in this report?
Yes, using information obtained in the investigation.
And when did you create that timeline?
Over the course of the investigation, over a long period of time, after a lot of reviewing video and investigative time.
So, as of September 14th, Tyler Robinson had already turned himself in to the authorities, is that right?
Yes, I believe he turned himself in on September 11th.
So, prior to the time that Tyler Robinson turned himself in, had you all prepared a timeline?
A documented written timeline?
Yes.
Not to my knowledge. I don't know when Sergeant Bricker produced his specifically.
And isn't it fair to say that as of the moment that Tyler Robinson voluntarily surrendered to authorities in Washington County, as of that moment, you all did not know who the shooter was? Is that right?
We had identified a person of interest, but we did not specifically know who the shooter was at that time.
Okay. And you became aware that Mr. Robinson was voluntarily surrendering how? How did you become aware of that?
That information came originally, I believe, from the Washington County Sheriff to the administration at the control center at the university on the evening of the investigation,
Okay.
or the second evening of the investigation.
All right, we're going to get back to that in a minute, but I just wanted to get the timeline down. All right, now I want to go back to the videos that we've seen and the question that I just asked before, which is it fair to say that nothing about the video of the individual on the roof revealed to you, you couldn't see facial features, you couldn't see what they were wearing, correct?
Of the individual on the roof.
Correct.
I know that there was a meeting to discuss perhaps a pattern on the front of the shirt that was observed when the individual was jumping off of the roof.
Okay, that's fair. But at that time, as of the 11th, before Mr. Robinson turned himself in, you all had not been able to determine that, is that right?
Excuse me. Determine who he was, or
No.
determine distinguishing features?
Determine distinguishing features of the video
Yeah.
of the person on the roof.
Yes, we had a person of interest, and those images were released to the press.
You're talking about the ones in the stairwell from the?
Correct,
From the parking garage.
correct.
But the video on the roof was not distinguishable, fair?
That video as a standalone
Yes,
was not, no.
okay. And in fact, the video on the roof, well, strike that. Is it true that you had some spectators that you interviewed that had gotten a photograph a few seconds before the shooting of someone on the roof?
Sorry, I'm not sure I understand the question.
Did you, at some point in your investigation, collect from two young men who were present at the event a video that they had taken of someone on the roof about 10 seconds before the shooting?
Yes, a video, yes, not photographs. A video was collected from an individual who had a video
And ultimately, some screenshots were taken out of that video, is that right?
by,
By you?
not by me, no.
Okay. That's fine. It could have been someone else.
Okay.
But did you see the video that those young men took?
If you're referring to the video that is looking north and shows an individual dressed in dark clothing on the corner of the roof,
Yes.
if that is the video, I have seen that video, yes.
Did you review the interview of those young men?
I did not.
Do you know how they described the person on the roof?
I don't know if I read it or if I heard it, but my understanding was they believed it was Overwatch or some kind of a police Overwatch for the event,
Okay.
if that's my recollection.
And do you remember anything specific about the person's build that they discussed when they described the person on the roof?
I do not know.
Okay. There is a portion of the video after the individual jumped off the roof, which we all saw here, where the individual crosses, I believe it's Campus Drive. Is that right?
Correct?
And there's a moment where the individual waits and there's two cars that pass in front of him, right in front of him.
Correct?
And is this the moment where you are submitting that he was holding a gun in his hand?
As across the road?
Yes.
From my observations, would show that he's carrying an object in his hand that's concealed or in a bag, and it is long and has the appearance, based on my training and experience, it could be a firearm.
But do you see a gun anywhere? The actual gun?
In the video?
Yeah,
No.
all right. And did anybody that was driving by on Campus Drive that day report to you or any other investigative entity, hey, we just drove by a guy with a gun who was leaving campus and he was standing right by my car?
We did not receive any reports to that effect, no.
Okay. Also, when you were revealing the timeline, exactly how long was there between when the person was prone on the roof and when the shot was taken? Do you recall?
If you would like to replay the video, I can time it for you, but I don't recall. It was, my guess, I would estimate between 15 and 30 seconds.
So between 15 and 30 seconds to lay flat, take a shot, and get up and run off, right?
I think you asked how long he was prone. I
Right.
think it took longer for him to crawl into position
Okay,
and then establish a position
Oh.
and then take the shot. He appeared to be in prone for approximately 15 to 30 seconds, but the video would verify that.
Okay, thank you. All right. I want to talk to you for just a minute about the video that was taken. And I'm not going to get into I'm not going to show it, just so that in case anybody's concerned about leaving the courtroom, I'm not going to show it. But there was a video that was taken by Mr. Ty Phillips from behind the individual that was speaking to Mr. Kirk.
Correct?
And it showed like a dead-on view of Mr. Kirk and parts of his security team, is that right? And then you also have video that you described that shows the back of the tent at the moment the shot happened, is that right? Behind Mr. Kirk?
You're referring to the UVU video in the breezeway?
Yes,
We have that video, yes.
okay. And can we pull up the last video, the last clip, 49? I want to show you, just you, this clip. That is a little clip from that video under the breezeway that's behind the tent, right?
Correct.
And just to be clear, this area behind the tent would not have been visible to anybody that was on the Losi building. Is that fair?
I can't answer that question.
Yeah, sure.
And Ms. Nestor, as you're playing this, are you just being cognizant if the sound is on or not?
I don't want the sound. Please.
Okay, I just wanted
not-
to
Thank you for bringing
clarify.
that. Thank you.
All right.
No sound. I just want only the witness to look at it. So can you just watch this clip for just a minute? This one little clip of behind the breezeway at the time of the shot.
That's fine. And so just as a reminder to all the parties, if it's on your monitor, please be cognizant of that. It will not be displayed on the main monitor. Ms. Nestor, you may proceed.
Thank you. Is it playing? Okay. Do you remember that? Does that refresh your memory of what's in that clip?
Yes.
And having reviewed that, at the time the shot was fired, there was no one standing directly behind the tent. Is that correct?
You'd have to show me it again. I wasn't specifically looking for that.
Okay,
But I can answer that question if I can view the video again.
okay. And just before you do that, I think you testified before that Mr. Kirk would have been dead center behind that banner. Is that right?
Approximately.
Okay, so what I'm asking is if anyone behind that banner, dead center behind Mr. Kirk, if there was any people standing there. Go ahead.
So there's a videographer on the right side of the tent, and then I can only see as far as the video allows me to, so I can't speak to whether there's anybody out of frame who could have been behind the tent.
But what you can see, is there anyone directly behind the middle of the tent?
Yes, there's a videographer stood behind the tent.
To the right?
Yes, behind the tent.
Correct. But directly in the middle of the tent, is there anyone standing?
There's no one stood in the middle behind the tent, no.
Thank you. All right, I want to talk now about the TP, you can take it down off of the screen, thank you. I want to talk now about the TPUSA video that you got. That was the angle that was taken from behind Mr. Kirk while he was talking, looking out at the audience when the shot was fired. Do you remember that video?
The visual impulse videos?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, is it true that Visual Impulse provided 4 videos?
Yeah, I believe there were 4 total videos that encompassed everything that they provided to us, yes.
But the one that you showed, that's only one of the 4 that they provided to you?
That one that was shown had a Bates number. It was an item that was provided by Utah County Attorney's Office.
Okay, but were there more that you haven't seen in this courtroom, in this prelim, that you got from?
There's the original footage.
Okay. But were there other angles that are not shown here in this prelim?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I was trying to get to. Thank you. Were you involved when the gun was located in the forest area?
I was not involved in the search for the gun, no.
Did you get notice when it was located?
From the footage that we reviewed, we identified an area that we believed could be potentially of evidentiary value, and then it was secured, and then I was notified that as a result of that search, a gun had been located, yes.
Were you involved in the processing of that gun? In other words,
I was not.
boxing it, shipping it, sending it wherever it was going to go to be
I
analyzed?
was not, no.
Okay, thank you. All right, now I want to shift to the autopsy for just a moment. You were not present at the autopsy, is that right?
I was not.
Okay. So anything you know about the autopsy was not from personal observation?
No, other than from my meeting with the medical examiner and his report, no, I was not present.
Did you meet with the medical examiner after he had conducted the autopsy?
I did, yes.
And when you met with him, did you provide him information about what you all had learned in your investigation so far?
We didn't have any reason to provide any investigative information to him. The purpose of the meeting was to establish what information he could provide to us.
Well, in fact, on the front page of the medical examiner's report, he talks about the investigation and information he learned. Did he learn that from you, or did he learn it from someone else?
It would be my recollection that he did not learn that from us, but I couldn't speak to how he did learn about it.
Okay. So you didn't share with him your conclusions about what happened or how Mr. Kirk was injured or anything like that?
That's my recollection.
Okay, thank you. And isn't it also true that fingerprints that were taken from Mr. Kirk and autopsy photos were provided to you on a CD?
Yes.
Was there anything else provided to you from the autopsy other than that?
Other than the CD and the report?
Yes.
Not to me, no.
Okay. You did mention not to you. Were you aware of anything else from the autopsy going to anyone else?
I believe standard practice is anything of evidentiary value that the medical examiner collects is transferred through a chain of custody.
And are you aware of anything that was transferred after Mr. Kirk's autopsy?
I'm aware that there were items transferred for evidence, yes.
What items?
I believe some fragments of a bullet casing. I know Mr. Kirk's personal items to be returned to the family. That's all I can recall off the top of my head.
Do you know how many fragments from the bullets?
I don't.
Now, I'd like to talk a little bit about the ring camera that you obtained, and you interviewed a woman named Ms. Noble, is that right? To get that ring camera that we watched with the car on the outside?
We interviewed her to verify the authenticity of the video, yes.
And were you involved in that interview?
With Miss Noble, yes.
And do you recall what they told you about what they remember seeing in and around that car that night?
I don't recall. I just know we were there to verify the video. I didn't conduct an interview with Miss Noble at that time.
Okay. Can we please bring up whole? Sorry, just a moment. Let's see. Whole 48. This is Miss Noble's interview. Do you have it? All right, do you remember that, looking at that interview, does that refresh your recollection?
I remember reading the report at some point, yes.
And do you remember that the Nobles told you that the driver of the vehicle was bald?
I do remember that being in the report, yes.
And you didn't mention that today when you were talking about that ring camera, did you?
I did not.
And did they also tell you there were 3 other people in the car?
Yes, I believe they thought that was the case.
Okay. I want to go back, if I can, to the scene itself, the preservation of the actual scene where where Mr. Kirk passed. Did you all have canine dogs at any point that sniffed that area?
I don't know specifically that area, but I do know that canines were present, or a canine was present on the day.
But you don't know what task the canine was given?
My understanding was that it may have been used in an effort to track an individual that had jumped off the roof, but I don't know for certain.
And obviously, that didn't produce any results, or we would have heard about that, right?
Yeah, not that I was made aware of.
Okay. Do you know when the tent and the stuff was actually removed from the scene?
I don't. I would imagine it had been at least a couple of days, if not longer than that, before anything was removed from the scene.
You didn't have to give permission to remove the tent,
Me, personally?
Right.
No,
so you're not sure when it was removed?
no.
And were you involved in the decision to pave over the dirt that was under the tent?
At UVU?
Uh-huh.
No,
Did you know that happened?
only because it was in the news.
All right. But you don't know when or who ordered that?
Nope.
And it's true that during the time before Mr. Robinson turned himself in, you all received lots and lots of tips from the public. Is that fair?
Correct?
You received tips of death threats that Mr. Kirk had received before, the day before the shooting? Is that right?
I'm sorry, did we receive threats that Mr. Kirk had received before the event, or?
Let me clarify. That
Thank
was a
you.
confusing question. As you were going through tips that the public was giving you, did you receive tips about online death threats that had been made against Mr. Kirk prior to his death?
There was a huge variety of tips and information and suggestions that were being provided by the public.
Okay, and a lot of those, some of those filtered through you, right?
Some of them filtered their way down to us, but predominantly that was being handled by our State Information and Analysis Center that had been set up.
And you also got multiple tips about potential suspects, people who thought they recognized people in the picture, right?
Yes, there were different calls and information provided by the public.
And you had quite a few of those.
Correct.
And then Mr. Robinson turned himself in, right?
Yes.
And is it your understanding that the individual they used to facilitate Mr. Robinson turning himself in was someone known to Mr. Robinson personally that had been connected to law enforcement?
I know he was known to the family. I don't know his connection specifically with Mr. Robinson, but I am aware that someone was used to facilitate Mr. Robinson turning himself in.
And were you aware that he was one of his Boy Scout leaders? Did you know that?
I think I had heard that at some point. There was a connection. I didn't recall specifically what it was.
And Mr. Robinson, in fact, no police went to go arrest him. He drove himself, or he was driven with his parents to the Washington County Sheriff's Department, correct?
That's my understanding, yes.
And he voluntarily walked in.
That's also my understanding, yes.
And that was the first moment you ever knew his name connected with this case.
Yeah, aside from the image that we had, that was the first time that we had a name of an individual who had taken responsibility, yes.
And did you personally ever meet with Mr. Robinson?
I did not.
And as far as you know, Mr. Robinson did what he said he was going to do. He told the police he was coming peacefully, he was coming with his parents, and that's exactly what happened.
I don't know any of the specifics of how he was arranged to turn himself in terms of what you've described. I just know that it was being facilitated with the sheriff's office.
Okay. Court's indulgence for just a moment, Your Honor.
Yes.
Thank you, Agent Hall. I tender the witness, Your Honor.
Thank you. Redirect by the state.
Just going to go back to a few things that Ms. Nestor asked you about. First of all, the unfired bullet that you referred to. It's your understanding that that bullet was accounted for.
That's my recollection, yes.
Okay, and it possibly belonged to an officer that could have maybe been clearing his weapon.
Yes, that's what I recall being told about that particular item, yes.
Are you aware of, if on the 10th, there were police officers present that were actually securing buildings and securing rooms there at UVU?
I know prior to my arrival, it was a dynamic and active scene that I believe was originally being treated that there was an active shooter on campus. So there was a large, rapid response of law enforcement who were actively trying to clear, secure, and ensure that the campus was safe, if that answers the question.
The entire campus?
Yes, correct.
Okay. And what types of officers were there clearing the campus?
Originally, there would have been probably local units who would have responded, but subsequently, specialty teams would have been deployed to do a more methodical search of the campus and what we would call a clearing of the campus.
And those specialty teams and any other officers, how were they equipped? Like what type of equipment were they
I
carrying?
believe most officers carry a sidearm, a handgun, and most officers in this day and age are equipped with a rifle platform as well.
Okay. When you said that it was possible that that round was from an officer clearing his weapon, what exactly do you mean by that?
Our standard practice in our department is to carry a rifle cruiser ready, which
I'm
is
sorry?
we carry our rifles in a situation which is called cruiser ready.
What does that mean?
It means we don't have a round chambered. So if an officer deployed with his rifle, he would chamber a round. Once he had done whatever task it was that he was doing in order to put that weapon back, he would eject the magazine and eject the round. Sometimes in doing so, rounds are dropped or not accounted for.
Okay. Have you personally done that yourself?
We do that at training, and I've done that in the field as well, yes.
Okay. And you're aware of, is that something that's common among police officers in this situation?
I believe for most agencies, that's how they carry their weapons, but I can't speak specifically to agencies outside my own.
Do you have any idea how many officers were dedicated or sent out to clear the campus?
I can tell you I had to park on University Avenue and walk all the way onto campus between hundreds of police cars, so I would say hundreds, if not 1,000 officers, high hundreds would have responded to the campus that day.
Now I'm going to ask you about, Ms. Nestor asked you about your observation of seeing Mr. Robinson with something in his hand. And I think she was asking you about Mr. Robinson just prior to crossing Campus Drive, following the shooting. Do you remember that question?
Yes, I think I was asked whether he had a gun in, or I had seen a gun in his hand in the video.
And you said that you did see something in his hand?
Correct.
Okay, I want you to go back as far as you can remember. At what point, after Mr. Robinson stood up on top of the Losi building and ran across, I believe to the northeast corner, when did you first notice in that video something in his hand?
The first time you can clearly notice he has something in his hand, without a doubt, is when he's on the white triangular portion on the northeast corner of the Losi building preparing to jump. It is very apparent he has an item in his hand.
Okay, and that's based on your observation of the videos?
Correct.
Okay. And is it easier to see in that enhanced video?
The zoomed version of the video makes it a lot clearer to see, yes.
And then after he drops down off of the roof of the Losi building, is there any time between that point in time and making his way to Campus Drive that you believe you see, again, something in his hand?
As Mr. Robinson lands on the grass, it's almost like he either drops it or goes into a crouched position, and then when he returns up from that, it is again clear that there is some kind of an item in his hand, yes.
Okay. Can you be more specific or describe in more detail
It
what
appears,
that item
it,
might
it
be?
appears to be black, and it appears to be longer.
Okay, anything else about that item?
No.
Okay. I believe it was Exhibit 9, State's Exhibit 9 that Ms. Nestor pulled up on the screen, and she had you look at that. And I believe what you looked at was, beginning, a still image, but then a few moments or a few seconds of that video. And that's the UVU tunnel video, is that right?
The breezeway underneath the Hall of Flags, yes.
And the view is from behind, where I believe you testified that Mr. Kirk was on the other side of what appears to be a banner
Sure,
in that tunnel view.
yes.
And on the other side of that banner is the tent and then the rest of the courtyard. Is that fair to
Correct.
say? Do you remember seeing the banner
Yes.
in the video? Okay, and
You're referring to the back of the pop-up tent?
correct, yes.
Okay, yes.
Okay. And do you remember, what do you remember about that banner?
It has some kind of an emblem on it, and it forms the back portion of the pop-up tent.
Is it opaque? Is it transparent? How would
No, you
describe
can't see through it. It's white,
Right.
and you cannot see through it, no.
it? And how much of the tunnel does that banner, I guess if it's opaque, obstruct?
I couldn't say. I'm assuming it's a 20 by 20 gazebo, so it would block out the area of the back of the tent that you can see. You would not be able to see through it. You would not be able to see through it from the audience side of the amphitheater.
And what about the tunnel side of that banner? Can you see through the tunnel side in the opposite direction?
You cannot, no.
Can you see Mr. Kirk on the other side of that banner?
You can't, no.
Okay. Well, we exhibited, or Ms. Nestor had you watch just, I believe, just a brief few seconds of that video. That exhibit is actually much longer than what we just looked at, or what Ms. Nestor had you look at, is that right?
Correct.
And leading up, and again, I'm referring to that view, that tunnel view of that surveillance camera, leading up to the shot, what's going on behind that banner?
There are representatives, I believe, of TPUSA, but there are representatives of TPUSA, there are law enforcement representatives. I don't know if there's any student body, but essentially people are moving to and fro behind that area. A couple of individuals are retrieving items from a vehicle, but there's consistent movement behind and in that area.
Okay. Directly behind the banner?
Correct.
Ms. Nestor asked you about the wooded area that Mr. Robinson entered. Well, Ms. Nestor brought that up, and I believe your testimony has been, between today and yesterday, that you witnessed Mr. Robinson enter a wooded area on at least 2 occasions. Is that fair to say?
Yes, on his second visit to the campus and on the visit where the incident took place.
At least on those 2 occasions, did the wooded area that he entered, were they different parts of the wooded area, or was it the same parts of the?
They appeared to be the same.
You're aware that a rifle was eventually discovered,
Yes,
and was it your understanding that that rifle was discovered in a wooded area?
it was in the wooded area where we believe Mr. Robinson entered the wooded area, yes.
And that rifle was discovered on the 10th?
Yes.
Ms. Nestor asked you about a variety of tips including threats to Mr. Kirk, I think before the event.
Yes.
And did you follow up on those tips?
After tips have been put through a process and been analyzed and screened, anything that appeared to have relevance to either the investigation or a credible threat was managed by the various entities involved, yes.
Okay. So managed by law enforcement, so.
Correct.
Did you personally follow up on any of the tips?
I don't think I personally did, but I worked closely with people who did.
The point is, I guess, is that those tips were followed up on. Is that fair to say?
To the best of our ability, yes.
Okay. And then Ms. Nestor also asked you about tips, I believe, of people reporting to police that they felt like they knew who the shooter was.
Yes,
Okay, so identities of possible shooters.
correct.
Did law enforcement follow up on those tips as well?
They did.
Ms. Nestor, finally, Ms. Nestor asked you, oh, well, she asked you whether Mr. Robinson voluntarily went to the sheriff's office down in southern Utah, is that right?
Yes,
Okay, and that was the Washington County Sheriff's Office.
yes,
Okay, you understood that he turned him, well, he showed up there voluntarily, is that right?
correct.
What was your understanding as to why he was showing up there voluntarily?
He had informed, I believe, his immediate family that he had been involved in the shooting and that he wanted to turn himself in.
Okay. Nothing further. In the video that we've already talked about, the video where Mr. Robinson stands up and runs across the top of the Low-C building, is there, do you notice whether at that point, after he stood up until you see him last, at least in that part of the video, do you notice whether he's walking or running with a limp?
He is not. From the time he left after going over the railing, when we see him on the video move out to the position
Correct.
and then leave the position, there is no longer a visible limp or gait.
Thank you.
Ms. Nestor.
No follow-up, Your Honor.
All right. May Agent Hull be excused?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Agent Hull, thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
We have just a minute to meet if,
All right, let's take a 5-minute break and allowing parties to convene.